Good evening, everybody. Oops. Good. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. I just want to apologize for the technical difficulties. Um, Now, the reason why uh, this channel is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that right now we're currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Okay. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode is currently on. And what does that mean? That means that if you're not a subscriber, if you wish to enter a comment, you need to subscribe to the channel. Okay. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have subscribed to the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. So, what I'm going to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do prepare content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. Um, as you can see here, tonight we're having another round of open discussion. So we do have many things to discuss. Hopefully, other people um, will join the panel. Okay. And of course, I'm going to ask that you please hit the like button as you enter. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link. Hopefully, my computer will behave this time because I was having trouble starting. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay. Tonight we have many things to talk about. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about tonight. Earlier today, the Radical Latino had a short stream on his platform, and the topic was AOC, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Uh, she is unfortunately my representative in Congress. She represents the 14th congressional district. So what he covered in his piece was the fact that many Latinos are not happy with her performance in the House. And in fact, many people are planning to vote for the Republican candidate because in the eyes of many, including this servant, she has not done anything. The only thing she has done is try to make a name of herself, trying to make herself bigger than what she is, and she's not. And she has not delivered for the people in the 14th congressional district. And he shared an article that was on Fox News where the reporter was interviewing Ruben Diaz Sr. For those who do not know him, he was a state senator. He also represented the 18th district in the city council. So while he was telling that he's right now he's encouraging all Latinos to vote for the Republican candidate. Okay. First of all, let me make this perfectly clear. Okay. I don't have a problem if you are a liberal or a conservative or a radical, as long as you're doing something to try to help your community. But in the case of AOC, she has done absolutely positively nothing. All she has done is getting into these cultural wars and what have you. And actually, what Radical Latino illustrated that there are many Latinos that are going to vote Republican. Why? Because they're getting sick and tired of uh, culture wars, where instead of trying to come up with strategies to help the people with all their issues, all they can think about is thinking of new pronouns for everyone to have to remember, like he, she, they, it, a group day, and whatnot. And to be perfectly honest, many of the Democrats have been disappointing. Okay, remember, they talked about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Guess what? It didn't happen. They talked about student loan forgiveness. Okay, that still has not happened to a great deal, or partially anyway. And then there were other promises that the Democrats um, promised to make. All they do is get into a whole bunch of cultural wars regarding um, the fact that the genders must flow fluidly. Okay, and just to give you an idea how crazy it's gotten. Okay, and as a municipal employee, first of all, let me just make it perfectly clear. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking as a representative of the city of New York. I'm just simply stating my personal opinion. But we are taught that whenever someone needs to go to the restroom, we have to say the following: the men's room is over there, the ladies' room is over there, and then the gender neutral bathroom is over there. Okay. Now, considering that there are many people who are struggling to pay their rent, that many people are struggling to make ends meet, there's a lot of crime going on in here in these streets. And you mean the best thing you can do is just worrying about making sure that the genders flow and then actually get into a debate regarding what consists of a female? I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry, but that's not going to cut it. So, is AOC going to overcome this? I don't know. I can say this much. I already voted, and I did not vote for AOC. Okay? Now, I'm not going to judge anyone that does. That's totally up to you. But I prefer, think with some logic. Okay. Now, the next thing I wanted to discuss, and I was hesitant of discussing this, but I do sense in my spirit I need to do so. Now, I've tried very hard um, to speak responsibly. I also try not to speak rashly. Okay. I'm trying to be mindful of my thoughts and my words. Okay. Um, I'm not going to lie. There have been times that I made some mistakes. There have been times that I practice poor judgment. And it's a possibility there might be people out there that might have been hurt with my words or my actions. So I just want to say if there's anybody in the audience or any out there who watched the stream later on um, during the course of the year, actually got offended with the exception of some hypersensitive people. If I say anything offensive or do anything offensive, I hope that you do accept my apology and that you can somehow find it in your heart to forgive me. I will definitely try to do a better job and make sure that I'm more careful with my words and in my actions. And if there's anyone who sees fit not to forgive me, well, you know what? That's your choice, and you're gonna have to live with those decisions. Now, that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss recap regarding the streams for this week. On Monday, I had a stream regarding why I do not observe Halloween. Okay. Now, let me make this perfectly clear as I try to make it clear Monday night. Okay. I do not observe Halloween for many reasons. Okay. First of all, I study the customs and the beliefs where Halloween came from. And it is my estimation and it's my decision that not to observe it. If you choose to observe it, that's perfectly fine. And I see here we have someone in the chat. Good evening, Tanyana Night. Buenas noches. Gracias por su visita. Thank you very much. And I thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. And again, if I say anything offensive, I apologize. I do hope you forgive me. Okay. So what I did was I discussed some of the customs regarding Halloween, things like the jack o' lanterns, trick or treating, seances, and games of divination. Also, I also discussed if you are going to observe Halloween, do it safely. Okay, meaning do not go to dark alleys and make sure that your children do not go anywhere without close parental supervision. And when it comes to the candy, do not allow your children to consume the candy until you get home when the parents can actually take a look and make sure that the candy is safe to eat. Okay. And then last night, I actually had a discussion on my channel regarding what are the most common reasons people don't vote. And the main reasons is number one, they're not registered to vote. Also, um, they don't perceive that their vote matters. Also, they don't like the candidates. And let's keep it real. There have been times when we have candidates that really are horrible. Okay. And also, I have illustrated at an earlier stream that there's certain elections where our vote does matter, and certain elections where our vote doesn't matter as much. So, and now that leads up to tonight, where we're having what I call open discussion, meaning we could discuss anything. If anyone in the panel has a topic that they wish to discuss, by all means, you can enter in the chat and we will discuss it. We will choose the fact. Now, what I'm going to do on Saturday is unusual. I'm going to do a stream Saturday night, and the topic will be the high cost of medicine, medical coverage. Those of us who work or have jobs where they provide medical coverage, sometimes we pay high premiums in regards to the medical coverage. And just as one thing, as a municipal employee for the city of New York, one of the things that the city administration wants us to do is to start paying premiums for medical coverage. Now, if you are familiar with municipal employees, they don't make that great salary to begin with, and sometimes it's a struggle um, to make ends meet as a municipal employee. The last thing we need is to start paying for premiums, okay? And no matter how small it might be, um, what happens is once they start charging premiums, it will never go down, it will go up. And right now, my municipal employee union, District Council 37, is involved with a letter writing campaign to try to encourage members to reach out to our politicians so that they know that we don't want to stop paying for premiums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to show that. Hopefully my computer or StreamYard will behave itself so I can show that without it going jinky on me. Now the next thing we're going to be talking about, this Sunday the 13th, I'm going to be doing a stream in Spanish. Unfortunately, it's going to be the last one because, unfortunately, whenever I do a stream in Spanish, the attendance usually goes down. Okay. And I see here we have a comment, which is the following. Halloween should be celebrated by adults, but it shouldn't be denied to children either. Therefore, if you have children, it's probably not a good idea to separate them from it because of personal religious beliefs. Okay. As I stated before, while I personally don't believe in Halloween, okay, I think if you are going to celebrate it, the key is to do it safely. That's the key. Okay. And when I mean safely, in other words, make sure there's an adult supervision. And make sure if you're going to go trick-or-treating, you go during the daytime. And instead of going to people's apartments, you go to businesses. Okay. And you do not allow your children to consume any of the candy until they get home so the parents can observe and make sure that the candy is safe for consumption. That is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is if you're going to observe Halloween, do it safely. Okay. And I'm not going to judge anyone that does. That's personal opinion. I have no right to cast judgments on anyone. So now I will be doing a stream completely in Spanish on Sunday the 13th. It will be the last stream on this channel. The reason why is because, unfortunately, whenever I do a stream in Spanish, the audience is very low. Okay. So I'm going to have a stream in Spanish. I don't know how long it's going to be. It might end up being a short stream. It all depends. If people participate, it might go on for a while. If people don't participate, it's going to end quickly. So let me just say a few words in Spanish. El 13 de noviembre será la próxima vez que yo voy a tener la proclamación completamente en español. Lamentablemente será la última vez que vamos a tener programación en español. Y eso debido de la situación que cada vez que hacemos programación completamente en español, la audiencia baja. La verdad es triste, pero es una necesidad ser honesto. Y el propósito de este canal es tratar de crecer la audiencia. So the whole point of the channel is try to increase the audience. Okay. So there might be times I might do a little translating in Spanish in other streams, but this Sunday the 13th will be the last time that I do a stream completely in Spanish. Now, the next thing I'm gonna be discussing is tomorrow night on Magic Mulata's channel. She's gonna have a stream regarding mixed people dealing with the Latino community. Okay. So let's see. And we have a guest. So before I continue, let me just state for the record that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to the images to the image. Some of the views people at home may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And let's see if we can bring in. Okay.
Buena, ¿cómo está usted?
Okay. Sugar. Stream. I need to find a way to do something other than StreamYard because it's like every.
Buena, ¿cómo está?
Okay, let's see. I see here. Most people don't vote because they don't respect nor understand the power of the political politics.
Buena,
For
¿cómo
example,
está?
most people do not know who is their district.
¿Estás ahí?
Know the process of getting laws passed and other branches of government. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. How you doing? You hear me?
Okay, I don't know. Good evening.
Good evening. You hear me now?
Oh boy. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello? Anybody here?
Hello?
Hello? How you doing, Don Jose?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh boy, let me just refresh.
Hello?
Come on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing, Don Jose?
Good evening. How are you doing tonight? I
Yeah,
apologize
I'm
for
doing all
the
right.
difficulties.
Hey, it happens to me too.
Yeah.
Just to let everybody know, I'm not a
So
communist. So, I just put there to to make you laugh, Don Jose. So,
yeah. Let
yeah.
me just read. Let me just read what Tina Knight says. We have district leaders who represent us in local level on the city council, representatives and senators in the House of Congress, judges, um, ranging from circle and federal level, and the president. There are three branches of government. Eric Adams, for example, has a top spot because his boss is up for election this November, and the executive of the state, I believe, if Republicans win, he will sway back to the Republican Party. Okay. Tonight we're having what's called open discussion. So we're discussing lots of things.
All right, but I'm just saying, technically, it does don't police police actually sway the Republican way anyway. I'm just saying, historically.
I think many of them do. I think many of them do. But just to let everybody know, I already voted in New York. So, and one thing for sure, I did not vote for AOC.
Me personally, it's like I'm not voting for anybody because out here in Pennsylvania, the political ads are too stupid. One's calling the other one crazy, and the other candidate is saying, "Oh yeah, this candidate is nothing because he lived with his parents until he was 49 or something like that." I'm like,
Mhm.
geez. So even the ads here in Pennsylvania is not even convincing me to vote.
You know what? I, as I discussed on yesterday's stream, there are many reasons why people don't vote. One of them is that they're simply not registered. Also, they don't think their vote matters, and also they don't like the candidates that are out there. Now, I see here there's another comment that says police in New York are becoming demoralized by politics. Republicans usually respect the police lives. For example, police officers lock up irregular migrants all the time and they get released to the streets, which in turn jeopardizes the safety of police when they are locking up criminals. Your thoughts?
Well, I can't really comment because I never been in law enforcement or whatever the case may be. But I just know that during the Giuliani era, it was some very racist times. That's all I got to say. But as
Yeah.
far as the police and civilian relation and Republican relation, most Republicans did support the police. I could actually say that. But I guess now, since we've had a lot of Democrat mayors in New York, a lot of police they felt like they haven't been respected or anything like that. So they're just so from what I heard is that when it's the Democrats, the police is not really going to do anything. But when it's a Republican, that's when you're gonna see the law being put down.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Now I see
so to me,
here
I
that
can't.
I'm sorry. Let me just read this comment that like stated. United clean up the streets and locked up the mafia. For example, my father, when he has a grocery store and had to get his garbage picked up and full utensils changed by the mafia, ask your parents when he had. Okay, interesting.
You see, there was a good side and there was a bad side of Giuliani.
Yeah.
The bad side was is that he supported cops too much to the point
Mm-hmm.
when there was Amadou Diallo that got passed that got passed to police negligence. Instead of actually trying to comfort the mother and everything like that, he actually went up and showed the woman where her son died. And on recent interviews, Giuliani has said that black people are the enemy. So my thing is, if a man who's so blatant in saying that African Americans or anybody else who is either from the Caribbean or Africa is the enemy, my
Mm-hmm.
thing is that you might have done good for a certain bunch of people, but then what about the other people that feel that he was the worst mayor in history? That's one thing I disagree with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Tanina Knight stated, the mafia ran New York prior to Giuliani. Ask anyone. Well,
All right, so if I'm just saying, if there were Republican or Democratic mayors, right?
mhm,
Either way, the mob ran New York because you had a lot of people who were into a lot of industries. Like for example, when my mom came to this country, right, and
mhm,
she started working for New York Telephone Bell, there was a woman that was actually related to the Gambino family, who she worked with. The woman was nice and sweet and everything like that, but she was protected. So that means that even though she was the sister of this big mob figure, any like he had a lot of people protecting that woman. And then the garment industry and all the other industries that was in the time in New York, even till the entertainment industry historically, were actually ran
mhm.
were actually mob ran for a time, meaning that it was like maybe 5 or 6 decades that was ran by the Italian mob, and then sanitation and all the other stuff too. So therefore, when the FBI and Giuliani went after the mob, it broke everything up. But during for several decades, anybody who wanted a job or anybody that wanted to be successful, you had to give the mob a pay cut as far as protection money or to actually make or for the entertainers to actually do shows. So I'm just going off of what I've read. I'm not gonna and what my mom told me, and several other old elders have told me about the past during like the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Now, he put no. Tanya and I has this comment, which I'm sure you've seen, which was, "Dude is trying to justify mafia. This is the issue with these streets." I'm sure you have something to say about that.
First of all, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying how it was. So, if anything, yeah, I agree with you. But then what a lot of people don't understand that Giuliani had criminals in his family too.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, The fact of the matter is, he went from being America's mayor to basically a lapdog for a pathetic lapdog for Donald Trump, to the extent that now he's being sued and there's possible litigation against him
And then he
regarding.
got and then he got disbarred and then he got disbarred in New York. I'm like, wow.
Now, Tanyana Knight stated Giuliani had criminals in his family. Expound on that, please.
All right. His fo- just 1 second.
Okay. Okay, apparently there was some music that was being played on Don Amando's end, and of course, what he's going to do is he's going to mute himself. That way, I don't get hit with a copyright strike, which I have been fortunate that had never happened, and I want to make sure that it never happens. Okay, because the whole point is trying to grow my channel. But it'll be interesting, for Don Armando to explain further regarding if there were criminals in Giuliani's family. I'm not going to say.
All right, I'm gonna expound on that.
Okay.
First of all, it was an interview or an article back in the New York Daily Times when they were talking about Giuliani and how he was brought up. So it was his father who was into the criminal life, but he was not a made man of the mafia. But yet
Mm-hmm.
he went up and left that life, so therefore Giuliani could be the person that he became to be, a lawyer and a politician, whatever, right? And then
Yeah.
Giuliani, he actually said himself that he had two relatives in the mafia who met their untimely demise. So therefore, that's why I guess he had like a certain hatred towards the mafia, because he had family members who were actually a part of it. Not saying that he was, but I'm just saying like if you actually look at his ethnic background, he he actually admitted that he had two cousins who was a part of that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. So now, as I stated before, I mean, there's lots of reasons why people don't vote, and here we don't catch any judgments. We just simply report the information, and then it's up to you to decide what to do with it. Okay. Now, I do want to let everybody know that tomorrow night, I believe 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, our friend Magic Mulata is going to be doing a stream regarding mixed people within the Latino community. So I don't know if you're going to be available, because I think tomorrow you're doing a stream. I don't
Yeah,
know what time.
it's gonna be also at 8 p.m. So I actually talked to some of the artists um that I guess that was on a later stream that I did. I think it was on Tuesday. One from the Bronx and one from the Dominican Republic. So what I'm gonna try to do is actually talk about the urban movement and what can we do to actually make it better, and to tell the youth to stop falling into the traps of what society or what misinformed people have is telling them.
Hmm. I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear. It's very important, and especially in the light of the fact that Takeoff was unfortunately killed, and you know, due to some crazy circumstances. So I
yeah,
guess you probably watch Malala stream in the playback.
yeah. I think I will because I might, I might just catch it on my stream a little bit, but then but I'm gonna watch it on the Plague Black because
Mhm.
Lada, she actually has some good content.
Yeah, she does. And one thing I do appreciate about her that she's really into um, reconciliation and trying to mend fences. It is extremely unfortunate that you have certain individuals that hate on her. But whenever anyone hates on a YouTube creator, it's usually because of jealousy or envy. And the fact of the matter is, Magic Mulata has been very successful, and she does have over 300 subs. Now, let me just read what Diana Knight typed. I was hearing drink champs when Mean Girls were on it, and North said he invited guests to give them their flowers. I heard that last night, and it spooked me out. Interesting.
I mean, me personally, I I sometimes look at Drink Champs, but I don't really look at Champs because what a lot of people don't know is that Nori don't really own the show. All the bills, all the backward bills and everything like that, and the alcohol and all that stuff is actually paid by Fat Joe. So if there's content that has to be removed or somebody said something out of character in the show or something like that, you have to ask him to actually remove that content.
Okay, I see. Okay. Now I do see there's five people, no, 6 people watching this stream. I would appreciate it if we can do a little better with the likes, though. Okay, so I'm gonna ask that everyone come in, please. Hit that like button as you come in. It's not going to cost you anything, and it does help my algorithm. Um, Now, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is there's going to be some changes regarding my schedule. Now, at times, I've done like 4 streams a week. So, starting next week, I'm going to try to limit it to 3. First of all, because it does take a lot of time to prepare these streams. It's not just simply getting behind the camera and just talk your head off. You do have to have information to share, and you also have to have good notes um, to discuss. Okay, so one thing about me is that I try to do my streams very well. Okay, and before I forget, let me just acknowledge the fact that the 18th letter is in the chat, and so good evening, sir. And I just want to let everybody know, I believe Tayana and I and Rakim, but they both have YouTube channels. So what I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please subscribe and check out their content. I think you're going to find that their content is very interesting. And I'm going to ask that you do the same thing regarding my friend Don Amando. He has a great deal of content. So I'm going to ask that you please subscribe and show some love to Don Amando.
Thank you, Don Jose.
Your crime walk. Because one thing that we do here is that we acknowledge the other YouTube creators, and we try to encourage everyone to support each other. And I see here, because the submittable message is that we actually bring flowers to the dead. Okay. So basically, I'm gonna try to do like uh, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Now, I might tweak it a little bit, depending what's the situation is, um, because unfortunately, at times we do have scheduling conflicts, um, and we do try to avoid it. but sometimes it's in, it cannot be avoided. And I see Tanino like actually say none set in a different sense, but considering the conspiracies behind hip hop sacrifices, I found that spooky. Okay.
I
Your
mean, with
thoughts?
that, if you actually look at it, and certain people don't actually acknowledge it, or they just talking about it. There's been a lot of quote unquote hip hop sacrifices when somebody actually tells the truth, and then poof, they pass away.
Hmm.
So certain people have said that Prodigy's passing, the rapper Prodigy's passing, might have been a sacrifice. Um, Tupac or Biggie, God rest their souls,
Hmm.
that they might have they might have been a sacrifice. And there's a lot of people that might or might have not been sacrifices. And the reason why I say that is because you don't know what's going on within these industries. And this is not just only rappers. You have certain entertainers also, and entertainers, actors, etc. So therefore, sometimes we could be watching a movie or something like that, not knowing that certain people might have had a malignant spell or something like that. So we have to really watch on what we're watching sometimes.
Yeah. Let's. Okay. I think we have another guest. Okay. Hopefully my Wi-Fi cooperates. Okay. Good evening, Rakim.
Good evening to my YouTube dad, Jose Negron. How you doing? And shout out to Don Armando.
Yeah. How you doing, Rakim?
I'm doing okay, Don. I was listening a little bit. I just grabbed myself
Okay.
some Jamaican food, and I was listening to what you were saying and what you said
I
about the
don't know.
Yeah,
Prodigy.
I haven't had Jamaican food like in a long time.
Mhm.
I wonder if that Jamaican spot up in Parkchester is still open.
I don't know to be perfectly honest. Um,
Yeah, but Jose, you know which one I'm talking about. You know the
yeah,
one
I think
that's
I.
like in back of the stores, and it's like near White Plains Road.
Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
But everything you said was spot
Rakim.
on. Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, Rakim.
Oh, good
and
evening, Jose. Was you
and
able to hear me?
Yeah,
yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay.
one thing that I try to encourage all artists, if they're going the positive route or anything like that, make sure that you read the laws of your contracts and everything. Because if have your own music and such, nobody could stop you. But if you sign and be a pawn to these major record labels that always promote garbage towards the African American and Latino communities, I say that we have to change the narrative, because ever since 1997 or 1996 or whatever, we have to make a mural for all the artists that we have lost to violence. So, and then
And
sometimes it's like you have to look at all other genres. You do not see you do not see R&B singers or rock artists wherever they are getting shot like that or anything like that. So,
yeah, I wanted to speak to what Taino Knight said when he said he thinks hip hop is demonic, and I'm trying to because the funny thing is we make our assessment on opinions based off what's pushed. You know, very, very rarely do we do our due diligence to go and look up the origins of anything or look up different things. We don't do that. We just sit there and say, you know, oh, I make this opinion based off of this, and that's understandable. But for the fact is that a lot of these artists, besides the Migos, some of these artists are not hip hop artists. What you have is people that rap, do drill music, or just practically in the streets, and they attach rapper to the name to sensationalize the story a little bit more. But no, hip hop is not demonic. In the beginning, not just in the beginning, just I mean, 20 years ago, hip hop was a different ball game than what it is now. After 2011, once drill music exploded here in Chicago, that changed the dynamic because what you're dealing with now is more exposure to the internet, so people can get more of a following on the internet versus having to go through an A&R like in the 90s and in the early 2000s. And what you said about the mafia earlier, Don, was spot on because the thing that kills me is when people try to act like this country was built off of fair and square and everyone worked hard and that's how they got where they were. No, this country was built off of criminal organizations, people robbing and taking and exploiting people that's in more of a lesser position than they are.
Mhm.
You have what you call you got mortgage fraud going on, you got bank fraud going on, you got predatory loan, a predatory loan system. Like it kills me. You got bank discrimination, and I'm not just talking about with my group. I'm talking about in general. You've had people that has yeah, I get what you're saying, Taino Knight. What about Corridos? Have you ever heard of that music genre too? I agree with what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but it's more to it than that. Now, like, yes, some of the music of today is demonic, as far as what you're saying. But we act like this has been in the existence of hip hop. Um, like this is within the last 10 years. Versus when I was growing up, you had Eric B and Rakim, Public Enemy, KRS-One. Um, Yeah, bro, it's exploitation going on right now. Even hell in 2008 with the housing loan crisis, you had banks preying on people who didn't even understand loans. No, you give me a break, bro, because what you're saying is asinine. You come from a Republican talking point system without fully understanding the way that this system works in this country.
Okay.
Right now, the wealth it's only 4% of this country that has the wealth in this country, and they're squeezing. I'm just, I well, don't. Yeah, I'm
all
just
right. So,
saying, it's not even the sense of respecting, and just that's what it is. None of us really respect it. None of us agree with crime, but this whole country was built off of crime. If we're going to be honest,
right. And then,
this,
like look at Las Vegas, right? It was actually made by Bugsy Siegel. And when he didn't give the profits to the mafia, he got deleted.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of it, if you look at the Americas or whatever the case may be, a lot of these street organizations are actually imported. And then you have certain families that actually rule like there are gangs, but the only thing is though that they're rich. So I'm not
because
gonna
they
go
did
around
all
the talk.
because they did all of their dirt before they wasn't rich. And that's the thing what
Okay.
people are not understanding. When you're talking about a situation like this, they think that people that are not participating in this type of stuff are doing it on a high moral ground when in reality a lot of these people just did it early, was able to capitalize off the market after doing that dirt early and no longer have to participate in that. That's all.
Right.
Okay. One thing I'm gonna ask you, try to tone, tone it down a little bit. Look, the reality is this: when you think about how this country was born and created, I mean, unfortunately, there are racist elements in this country. I mean, if we take a look in our Constitution, an African American person was considered three-fifths of a human being. And the fact of the matter is, we had slavery in this country for 250 years. And if you take a look in other parts of Latin America, it lasted almost 300 years. And also, after that, there was a couple years of Reconstruction, and then you had Jim Crow laws and segregation and things of that nature. So we have to acknowledge that as great as this country is, there also some dark parts about this country as well.
Exactly.
And I see here Tanya Knight say, I'm not offended he has an assertion, and I would like just to hear his evidence, no problem. I support free speech and in empathetic to opposing thoughts. And we just lost the 18th letter. I'm gonna try. Okay, I'm gonna try to put in the link again.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Yeah, can every?
All right.
Yeah, hello.
I'm here. Oh,
Yeah, am I going?
I'm here. I'm uh, I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on. So
Uh, okay.
Okay, hello. Hello? Hello?
I'm
Rakim.
here.
Okay, Rakim, the link is in the chat. If you can join in, I apologize. It's just I'm having a lot of technical difficulties tonight. But Now, I think what Tanyan and I was trying to say is that he does believe in free speech. It's just that there's certain points where that he disagrees with. Tanyan and I, if I'm wrong, please let me know. So, Don Armando, please continue.
All right. I mean, the last thing I was saying is that Las Vegas was actually a creation of the mob,
Mm-hmm.
and the mob's still there, but they're not as active as they used to.
Yeah, can everybody hear me all right?
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, yeah. What I was saying
Okay.
to Taim, yeah, can you hear me, Jose? Jose, you should be able to hear me.
All
Okay, I'm
right.
gonna
Gotcha.
just say this real quick because I don't know how long I'm gonna be in here. Um, First and foremost, with what Taino Knight was saying, I'm not even talking about slavery or anything like that. I'm just talking about the founding laws that has been created in this country and the history of this country, robbing and taking and exploiting people. It's as some of it of the past, yes, but the past dictate the future because a lot of people have made their money off of crime and dirt and generational wealth done in the past. You just can't reset things because it's the past now, especially when you have a disadvantage. I mean, when you have an advantage based off of that past. When you look at the way union laws, the unions was created in this country. When you look at child labor laws in this country, it's because it was people that were in the industrial industry that were wealthy elites exploiting poor people and using poor people to enhance their wealth. Uh, that's not hard to understand. When every immigrant group came into this country, especially if they were shunned and locked out of the system, they created their own underground system of crime, which was taught to them by Americans, and an underground system of crime where they, guess what, they exploited their own people. They pretty much did crimes amongst their own people until they was able to politically wash their money and create generational wealth where their grandchildren would not have to be the crook that the granddad was. That's just common sense, common knowledge. Bootlegging was the crack of people's day. And behind bootlegging, there was a lot of murder, there was a lot of crime, and it was a lot of and it was a lot of money to be made.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go into another topic. One thing that I'm going to be talking about here is regarding um, biracial and multiracial issues. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to reach out to some of the members of the Golden Spear, um, if that would be available, um, to talk about for example, talk about the experiences on YouTube and what they have to deal with. I don't know when I'm going to do this. It'll probably be either November or December. Um, I know we did do a stream regarding the community. I think way back in June.
Yeah,
Of course,
but with no dice.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that the situation was the timing was all wrong because at that time there was a lot of issues going on in the Golden Spear. So things seems to be
Jose,
quiet. Yeah.
I have to log out for a quick second. I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay, no problem. No problem. But I think when we did the stream, the timing was way off. So
And I
now
think I
that
need to get some foam pattern or something like that so I could block out the music at
yeah,
least.
yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. So
Cause I'm living like in a hot, like in a 2-story house, but the thing is though, since we're in like near a road, so where everybody feels like blasting their music. That's why I have to mute my stuff sometimes. So bear with me.
No, it's understandable. I mean, I'm more fortunate because I live on the 10th floor. So, but sometimes I do hear people play their music in the background. So it's like you have to like mute yourself, because if not, you can get a copyright strike. Okay, so I do understand what you mean. One thing that we are going to continue to discuss on my channel is mental health issues. And I see here that Taino and I actually put in another comment. It's good to acknowledge our past, but today we have repercussions for breaking laws, and everyone who follows them, regardless of color, are credited the same freedoms and liberties to attain wealth. Your thoughts, Don Armando?
I mean, yes or no. But my thing is that you have to make an opportunity out of somewhere. But then certain things, as it was on Radical's channel, if a person tries to do certain stuff within the job field, they'll try to make you the pariah and then fire you because you're trying to make your own business. And I've seen this time and time again with certain people, that they'll try to make a pariah, or they see that that person is has dreams and goals which is not of the company, so therefore they try to ostracize them and get fired. In some jobs like that I've been in, it's actually like a cult, right? Like, you go to a job,
Mm-hmm.
right, and they try to say we're a big family and
Yeah.
everything like that, right, and whatever. But then after a while, you start seeing the chinks and cracks. And in the job that I was in, there was like, I had to wait like 3 years in order to get a week vacation. So all the chinks in the army, there was super strict on anybody taking a week vacation before that. And during that time, my father was sick. So therefore, like around that time, after I went to the Dominican Republic after his untimely passing, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, at the end of the day, this job was not really a family. And they just said that as, how should I say, as a doctrine or something like that. It's almost like a cult, as I say. So
Yes.
certain jobs, they respect your rights, but certain jobs that are not union, they don't respect your rights, and they could get away with anything. Like, you have certain people right here in Philadelphia. I'm talking about the multimillionaire bosses or whatever. A guy who
Mm-hmm.
knew about contracts and stuff, who I was working with. There was like, the reason why this job doesn't have a union is because every time he pays like a $2 million tax bracket or whatever the case may be. This was at the time, like around 2018, before he actually sold it to a company,
Mm-hmm.
that he paid like a 2 billion tax bracket, so therefore his company won't even have to see the unions. I was like, wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's on Philadelphia for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm, of course, as a municipal employee, I'm more. It's more fortunate. I mean, first of all, we actually start with I think 3 weeks of vacation time, and then as you continue in cities in municipal service, you gain more time. So right now, I currently earn 27 days of paid vacation time a year.
Well, shoot. In that case, you gotta visit Philadelphia again. We
I
got
you
you.
know what? At some point, I will. Excuse me. At some point, I will.
Hmm.
Okay, now, one of the things that we're going to continue to talk about is mental health issues. Okay, because that they always come up, and we have seen it on numerous occasions in these YouTube streets where you have certain individuals. They act weird, they act crazy, they go, they act very immature and what have you. I mean, they cannot, accept a different point of view, and heaven forbid you try to tell them there's a different point of view. They become very problematic. I mean, we have seen this um, all the time, and in fact, there's a certain YouTube creator that on his stream, all he does is reaction videos regarding certain other YouTube creators when it's almost getting to the point it could be considered harassment.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I if I had my way, a lot of these people will go into therapy, and they will not partake in this social media for a good length of time until whatever trauma is been resolved. Because one thing we all know, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, and
Okay, yeah.
oh, yeah, I was just talking to my wife, so
Okay. No,
yeah,
yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable. Um, Now, earlier tonight, I mentioned, that I try to be mindful of what I say or what I do, but at times, I've made some mistakes, and I've said some things that could be taken the wrong way. So what I did was I asked, if anybody got offended with what I say or what I do, then I apologize, and then I hope you will forgive me. It's just that we're all human, and unfortunately, we make mistakes, and sometimes we're not always our best version of our best self.
yeah, that's true. But me personally, yeah, it's like this. You have certain people who have mental health issues, and you have certain people who are lying in sheep's clothing. You get what I'm trying to say? They'll be the
Yeah,
ones they'll be the ones that will try to call a person degenerate when the fact is they say degenerate things. So
yeah,
that's how I see it.
yeah. That is true. Now, one thing I do plan to do is make sure I don't repeat the same mistakes. And also, what I also plan to do is to do a better job vetting out people, um, because everybody can seem one way, and then you don't know what are the true motives or their modus operandi and what have you. And I've seen it, how people change. I mean, it's incredible. But that's how it is with these YouTube streets. Because unfortunately, we don't know a lot of these people very well. We think we know them, but we don't. All we know is we know them is basically through whatever interactions that we have. Maybe a couple, you might do a call on Instagram or on the telephone, but you really don't know a lot of these people. So I think what's happening is that there's some music in the background, which is
Oh
why
no,
I'm sorry.
I was, yeah, I was, um, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was, um, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So, yeah, I was, um, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So, yeah, I was, um, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So, yeah, I was just talking to my wife. So,
yeah. So going forward, I'm going to try to do a better job vetting people and making sure that those that I'm going to hang with are people that can accept me for what I am.
Yeah.
And those who cannot accept me, you know what? That's not my issue. That's your issue. Okay. I like to think of myself as a decent person. I do try to be fair. I do try to be open-minded. Of course, I'm human, and therefore I will make mistakes. So, it's just that, if you cannot deal with me at my worst, you're not going to deal with me at my best. Okay.
Perfectly said, Don Jose.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm trying to bring up, I think it's another person. I'm trying to see if I could bring him up. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, oops. Okay.
Hey, so how's it
Um,
going?
Okay. Good
How you doing
evening.
now? Good
Fine,
evening.
how are you?
I'm all right.
So, I was curious. You mentioned about vetting people. Did you have someone try to come up here who was?
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we hear
Yeah, I
you.
can hear you. Yeah,
Okay. Al, are you able to speak?
I
Yeah.
am. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I was curious about your last comment, which was about.
Hello?
Hi. Yes.
Yes, good evening.
Hey, how you doing? Good
I
evening.
apologize for the technical difficulties.
Yeah. It seems like he had some tech issues, I guess.
Yeah.
Um. So, as I mentioned previously, or was going to mention previously, you mentioned something about vetting. Um, did you have an issue on this platform with, I don't know, trolls or critics or something like that?
I would rather not discuss it here.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't like to air my laundry, so to speak. Um, but it suffice to say that going forward, I'm gonna need a better job regarding who who I'm going to deal with
Mhm.
these YouTube streets.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see. I'm somebody who's been on YouTube as a content creator for what? I don't know, over 6 months now. And I've never had panels, so I kind of do things like I call it video verite. It's kind of like set up my device and record and just talk. And so I don't deal with panels and stuff like that. And I mean, I will deal with the chat, but people come in. That's about it.
Yeah.
So it, I haven't really had much of a problem with control, for example, other than trolls trying to come in and stuff. But I time them out and delete them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, of course, you know that there has been one individual that constantly talking about certain individuals that we know about.
All right.
Oh, you mean
And
in a certain space? You mean, or
Yes.
was it a certain space? Okay. I mean, I don't know. My view is, I don't know. I'm like, I would think some people would just move on. Like, I mean, maybe it's a YouTube thing. Like they have to keep. Well, one of the things I speak about on my channel sometimes when I have a show called Talking YouTube, where it's broad, so it's not just for it's for anyone on YouTube, whether you're in a chat or your panel or whatever, content creator. But one of the things I talk about are the 3 C's, right? Content, controversy, and character. And unfortunately, these are the aspects that help fuel YouTube for a number of people. So they feel like they've got to try to, in order to get views and subscribers, they've got to try to get something going, conflict going, or you got to get controversial or something. And it's kind of unfortunate, but it's kind of what they do. And because they believe that these allow them to MTA, master the algorithm. And,
Yeah, because I guess certain content creators, who I'm not really going to say, they look like that. The whole big controversy is whenever I go on a panel or stuff of questioning my ethnicity. So my things is that certain people, they do not want to take on who I am or anything like that. So they have to question my ethnicity and my story. And half these people, at the end of the day, are not experts. And most of the people who are like my detractors or haters live in basements and such, talking about fall nationalism that they will never do.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because it really, being a biracial person, wasn't until I got to YouTube where I got people who were saying, well, you're not mixed race or you're not this. And I never really experienced that in my life. So I kind of viewed it more, I shouldn't say it this way, but I kind of viewed it with a little bit of amusement. I didn't allow myself to I wasn't upset or angry because I had never dealt with it in my life. Like I didn't have people coming up. Here's the weird part. When people are trying to tell you what you aren't, that always strikes me as odd.
Yes. I mean, I've been through it in high school, and I thought that those days were behind me until I met certain YouTubers, and one of them proceeded to me and him having an argument. He proceeded to diss to diss my spouse and whatsoever. So me as I got angry, I dissed them, and that's it. So my things is that certain people they want to allow this on their on their platform. That's on them. But you're not gonna go around and sit here and disrespect me or the ones that I love just because you can't prove an opinion about me.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? I don't know your background, but when you have people trying to tell you you're not this ethnicity or you're not this race or you're not this, I just find it a arrogant, rude, stupid thing to do. Like, who made you the expert in what I am? And how would you don't know
Exactly.
me? So how could you state that?
Exactly. Like I was up in the stream one day, right? And there was a guy trying to tell me, well, you're not this. I'm like, okay, so where's your receipts? And I said, if I'm not this, how come my father is buried in that land, right? And then he was like, oh, you're fake and everything like that. So to me, I'm like, at the end of the day, you don't know me from a grain of rice, but yet in your mind, you want to act like you know everything. When the fact is, I have proven that none of y'all really know what you're talking about. And when I
Mhm.
bring knowledge, they want to try to say, oh, yeah, you got it off of Google. Like, who really reads Google when you could actually read books?
Well, Google is a search engine. So if you got it off of Google. Well, you got what, an SEO off of Google? Because that's what Google is. It's a search engine. Of course, it owns YouTube, but both owned by Alphabet. But it's a search engine. So you're only going to read summaries and citations of paragraphs. You're supposed to click on to the source. So when you talk about you got it from Google, no, Google, you got it from somewhere else. You didn't get it from Google. And I do like what you mentioned, which is show the receipts. That's a good, I like that reaction. That's a good one. But I mean, I find it odd because to me, it's a new phenomena being online, being on YouTube. And people are like trying to call you something that you're not entirely. I mean, if I had $1 for every time somebody called me white, I'd make a few bucks, or maybe if I should say if I had $10 for every time somebody called me white, I'd have quite a few bucks. I know it's a phenomena that exists outside of YouTube, and it exists in many parts of this country. And I can't think of anything more offensive to say to somebody from a racial or ethnic standpoint, other than being racist, than to say, you aren't this or you aren't that. It's people who don't know what they're talking about, thinking they can dictate an identity to somebody. I don't think so. It just strikes me as so arrogant and so stupid. I can't imagine why anyone would even want to fall for it or deal.
I've dealt with certain people like that within my community for I could at least say 2 or 3 decades. I'll say 2 decades to be safe, because it's like you have certain people that they just don't agree or whatsoever the case may be on what they are and stuff. So
how do you put up with that? I'm curious. You said you've been with that. You dealt with that in your community for at least 20 to 30 years. How do you deal with that? Like, how do you personally deal with that? I'm just curious.
Me personally, I just live my life, because at the end of the day, you have certain people that don't know, and certain people that will assume what you are, or whatever the case may be. I mean, I know that I speak bad Spanish. My Spanish is not the best, but at the end of the day, the proof is right there. My first, middle, and last name is Spanish. And certain people, they want to try to tell me who I am without knowing my parents, without knowing my family. You certainly don't really have all the receipts to tell me who I am. And then on top of it, their view on what a Dominican person is, they say that I don't fit that view. When the fact is, a lot of people who are in Latin America don't fit that view either. So there's like a how should I say, a divide when it comes to cultures and such. Not including in mine, but even with certain Asian friends that I have, because you have certain people that say, "Oh, you're not too Asian," just because they just Americanized or whatever the case may be. So it's like a divide on people that will hate you just because of a preconceived notion that they have of you.
Yeah, I guess I've always said, since I've, been in mixed race groups on social media and even more recently on YouTube, I always said I was fortunate because I didn't have to deal with stuff like this when I was growing up and, becoming an adult and most of my adult life. So coming on YouTube to face it, it's like, again, it's, I guess, humor guides some of it because I just find it so absurd and ridiculous that I go, okay, hey.
To actually say to Taino, I actually do have an understanding of the history because it was my mother that was telling me about the history of Dominican Republic. That's where you're wrong. And most of the history that I could actually tell you about is of what my parents lived through during the Trujillo era. Some were good, some were bad. And most of the people who actually talk about the Trujillo era never really lived it. I could
Hello?
say I never lived it, but I know my parents did.
Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, we're here.
hello.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Dominican Republic is, because it's that contrast between the Dominican, because they're both on Hispaniola, both Haiti and Dominican Republic. And it's interesting because it's very, how do I put it? Dominican Republic is a very kind of mixed race, mestizo nation, from what I understand, to a certain extent. And it's funny because when I remember reading about the Dominican Republic, I looked at a lot of their founding fathers. I was looking at some show, I think, about it, and looking at the statues of the founding fathers. And I looked at it, I said, oh, it's clear these guys are mixed race.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah.
Because they looked at some of them, I went, oh, geez, I could fit in very nicely. I'm not even Latino or Hispanic, but I went, oh, geez, I could fit in. Aesthetically, I could fit in quite nicely here.
Yeah. Well, according to one individual, I'm an old senile white person.
So you're a white Latino?
I'm not even Latino. I'm just an old senile white person.
So would you be Spanish then?
Okay, actually, okay,
I'm just going according to what they're calling you. I don't like what if your name is Jose and last name Negron, I'm going. That's not a WASP. That's not a white Anglo-Saxon name.
Well, we're talking about the individual who swears up and down that he's the ultimate as far as a masculine male. But
Oh no, not the guy again. Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
I mean,
Wow.
I've seen a couple of his streams, and basically both times the guy has a near meltdown.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I gotta be honest. It's very clear he's got a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gotten therapy, but he needs it because
Mhm.
it's very clear he's got whatever. I don't know what happened to him when he was younger or whatever it is, but it's clear he needs a therapy. He definitely needs it. Maybe he's gotten it. I don't know, but you know, it's just. Whew, again,
Apparently
it's
now
a lot
you're
of
gonna
it's
make
conditioning on. Go ahead,
videos
sorry.
on other people.
Mhm. Yeah. Al, which platform do you use to do your streams? Do you use StreamYard or use a different platform altogether?
Oh, I don't have panels, so
No,
I just go and do.
I mean, I'm talking about when you do your streams.
Yeah, I don't do streams on StreamYard. I just do my streams straightforward. I don't have a platform. Just do it, put it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't use StreamYard. I know some people have StreamYard to basically stream because it solves the problem of doing lives, right? Like they don't have to wait till they get 50 something subscribers to go live. They have a channel. They just get the StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had to wait because I have 2 channels and I had to wait to get over 50. So that was, I don't know if I want to do that again. So I don't know if I want to start another channel. Like, I don't know. Programming, I call it programming, doing content, call it programming. Like programming 2 channels is, I don't know if I would do that again. I don't know if I would do it again.
Yeah, I see here that Tanya says most people get offended when the truth comes out. I understand. If you were then, I would debunk or answer everything I'm saying and saying. Okay, but one thing, you know, in my over a year that I've been a serious YouTube creator, I had experienced a lot of crazy stuff. Okay. I actually got into yelling matches with other YouTube characters. I have been accused of everything but other than being a child of God. I was blocked on one platform, so it's like, you know, this is something that I wish I've known prior to forming a YouTube channel. But I guess you just have to learn as you go.
Right. Now, that's interesting you mentioned that because I just started streaming. I just started going live and started producing content on YouTube because YouTube contacted me and said, hey, you got enough subscribers, you can do it. I didn't really want to make content. I didn't really want to be on YouTube, but I did some live streams. I'd never done that before. And then I had more ideas and I thought, okay, I'll keep doing this. I will say this. I was actually on YouTube in terms of channels and on panels and in chats. And I have to say, I was doing that for about a year. And what I realized was when I did go on YouTube is that I had a good education of what YouTube was. And so I knew what the pitfalls were. I knew what the problems were. I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want, ultimately. Mm-hmm. And so if I had to give, and I have given advice, even though I've only been on for a few months, but what I would say to anybody who is looking to be a a content creator or looking to go on YouTube, I would first go on YouTube, go on panels, go in chats, and do that for a while. Do that for maybe a few months, so that you get an idea what the lay of the land or the lay of the country is, or the globe, I guess, in the sense of YouTube, so that you get a sense of what it's about. Because the more educated you are before you become a content creator, the more effective it will be. I came into content creation not wanting to do it. I had no interest in it. But once I did it, I understood, okay, this is what could happen. This is what could happen. I knew, okay, and that's why I don't have panels, is because I know that there are going to be P-bombers, and there are going to be people who troll in chats and even troll on panels. I don't know if I should mention this. Yeah, I think I will. I was on another panel, and there is what I call a panel troll that is going out and try to get on panels to troll. This guy, I mean, normally trolls like to do chats, and they don't like to come on panels. But this guy is what I would call a panel troll, and tries to come on trolls. He was actually live streaming. He was on a panel of a channel I used to go to, and it was on the panel. And he was, I found out somebody was saying in the chat, he was live streaming it as he was on the panel on his channel.
Really?
So, you know, you got all kinds of people now. Like I had seen my share of trolls, but I had never seen a panel troll, because I thought most trolls would stay on a panel. But he's a panel troll. So that's my recommendation. Learn as much about YouTube by being on YouTube, and learn what works for you if you're going to do content, and pick the right spaces, like depending on what your background is and so forth. Like I have a writing channel.
Well, Don Jose, I'm about to leave.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Don Armando, for stopping by. Have a good night, and just be safe. I just want to read what Tina Wright said. You just said, has no books. How can I even take you seriously? There's books online in PDF format uploaded by Cambridge, to say at least, and a tab specifically for books. So I don't know how you want to respond to that. So
I don't. I respond to what? The guy's comment?
yeah.
So his comment is about books online.
Okay, I'm gonna read to you what the comment says. Dude,
Okay.
you just said Google has no books. How can I even take you serious? There are books online in PDF format uploaded by Cambridge, to say at least, and a test specifically for books.
I never said anything about books on Google.
You know what? I think the remark, the comment was made towards Don Armando.
Yeah. Because he said something about Google, and I said, yeah, you can't read Google. Like somebody had said something to him about Google, and I said, yeah, you can't read Google itself, because Google is a search engine. Like you can click on stuff. Like what you get are the headings, right? The SEO. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with me. I didn't mention books for Google.
Okay.
So,
I think I think that was directed towards Don Armando.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure you can find everything on Google, or a lot of things on Google. I'm sure you definitely can find books on Google. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate the fact that even with all the technical difficulties that I've been going through, that right now there's currently 6 people viewing the stream, and I just want to say thank you very much. So I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please hit the like button as you enter. It doesn't cost you anything, and it does help my algorithm. Okay, at least here, we're not going to be talking about anyone that's going to say disparaging remarks regarding ladies or gentlemen and what have you, like a certain individual that we both know, which will remain nameless.
Yes. Oh, some people. I don't know. I mean, that's one of the things about YouTube is I was saying this in a space that I used to go on channels in. I never really realized I wasn't used to seeing a number of damaged people. And that's what I realized, that a number of people there, and I think on YouTube in general, but a number of them are damaged. I don't
Yes.
know what they're damaged by. I don't know what their trauma is. I don't know where their hurt comes from, but they're damaged. And it's a shame. It's unfortunate, but you realize, I mean, I'm somebody that I'm not used to being around people that aren't functional. I'm used to being around functional people, having functional people as friends and acquaintances and stuff like that. You know, people that are educated and so forth. I mean, hey, there are all kinds in life, right? And I understand that, but you don't always know how to deal with all kinds in life until you come to a certain point, right? And I noticed that on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I've learned on YouTube is that it's a magnet for different kinds of people, and a lot of people, quite frankly, come here to do what they think they can do, what they can get away with, I guess, or what they think they'll be allowed to do, and it's different compared to what I call the carbon-based world outside of the internet. So I don't know. I think again, it's one of those things you have to learn. And again, I think the advantage I had before I became a content creator was being on YouTube in some capacity, and watching how people interact with each other, how people deal with each other, how people don't deal with each other, how they behave on YouTube. And so it provides you with a certain education. And that's what I would highly recommend to people. Don't go on as a content creator until you've been on YouTube for a while in some capacity, meaning that you visited channels and panels and so forth. Educate yourself as to what this platform, this medium is like, and don't learn the hard way. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I agree. But the fact of the matter is, this has been a very interesting experience dealing with all these different unique YouTube characters. Okay, and some of them, let's just say they tend to be very bizarre. If you catch my drift.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've seen my share of bizarre.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you wish to add before I start to wrap this up? Because
not really. I think that's it for me.
okay. Oh boy. Ugh. Okay. Well, in any case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop to wrap this up, because the reality is this. I think we've been going on for about 2 hours with all the technical difficulties, and I don't want to take another chance of YouTube going, this train, going off the deep end. So, do you have any final remarks, briefly?
Not really. Just beware of the crazies on YouTube.
Okay. Well, in any case, just want to say thank you very much, Al, for appearing on the panel. I also want to thank Don Armando. I also want to thank all those who appear in the chat, and of course the 18 brother. And I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please check out the Al Schultz channels. So he does have interesting content. Now, this Saturday night, I'm going to be having a discussion regarding the high cost of medical coverage, and that's something that's very that's a sensitive topic.
Yeah. You should get a. I would think that should be a good amount of people who want to talk about that. Because a lot of people get impacted by hospitals and medical costs, especially nowadays after this pandemic.
Yeah.
Or with this pandemic, I should say.
Well, in any case, I'm just gonna wrap this up.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for popping up again. Do you know that Magic is going to have a stream tomorrow regarding mixed people and the Latino community? Oops, I guess we just lost him. Well, in any case, the fact of the matter is I want to thank everyone who appeared on the panel. I want to thank everyone who appeared on the chat. And sometimes, it's better that we do have these loose, informal discussions. So that being said, and I do appreciate there's still some people watching this stream. Of course, by all means, you're more than welcome to enter your comments after the stream is over. Just please keep it respectable. That's all I'm going to say about that. Again, we will be have a discussion regarding medical coverage, the high cost of medical coverage. So that being said, I'm going to close the same way I always close, which is let's be good to one another and each other. And I thank you very much. And I thank everyone who's now, unfortunately, I am wrapping up the stream because I do have to get up early tomorrow morning. So that being said, thank you very much. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. And I wish all of you a pleasant good night and peace out.
Be strong. Be strong.